Welcome to the Block Exploring Podcast, your first step into the world of crypto and blockchain. The Block Exploring Podcast is your one stop place to find quick, clear, and unbiased information on everything in the crypto space. Our goal is to help you grow familiar with the crypto space by growing along with us as we go on our crypto journeys. For explanations on everything blockchain, weekly crypto news updates, and more, listen to our weekly podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and many other platforms like Pocket Casts. Follow Block Exploring on Twitter for updates and our publishing schedule. Today's episode is presented by co-hosts Tommy and Elias. You can find us on Twitter under respectively Sabai Squared and Atoko Crypto. In today's episode, we will start by introducing ourselves and discussing topics in the crypto space that caught our eye in this past week. Before we start, here's a short disclaimer. The contents of this podcast are for educational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing said constitutes financial advice of any kind. With that said, sit back and enjoy today's podcast. So, welcome to today's episode. I think first we should introduce ourselves. Tommy, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. Thanks, Elias. Hi, everyone. My name is Tommy. I studied law and a lot of human rights law, and now I work in the NGO sector. And I got my start in crypto sort of in 2017. That's sort of when I first got introduced to crypto, like many other people, with all the hype that was going on at the time. But so I've just been watching the industry very closely since then, and now I feel like I'm neck deep in it, and I really think it's the future, crypto and blockchain. So just want to get into it and do whatever I can, build projects, and bring everyone on the ride. How about you, Elias? Who are you?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? My name is Elias. I'm still a student. I'm in my master's, studying law as well. Tommy and I, we became friends through our studies, and we decided to run with this idea. I study international business law, and I'm specifically focusing on contractual analysis and fintech. And I really got interested in crypto. Well, it was especially actively interested, as in investing this past bull run. So, like, let's say 2020, halfway, I think somewhere, that I started actively interacting with crypto as an investor and as a user. And ever since the 2017 bull run, and especially the crash, I've been keeping an eye on it, but not as actively as now, especially with the relevance I see that crypto has on like the legal sector and finance in general. I think it's a very important, piece of innovation that deserves a lot of attention, and that's why I'm so interested right now in crypto. So I can't wait to start off this podcast and get the show on the road. This week in crypto, man. Tommy, what caught your eye?
Well, Elias, you know Coinbase, but for everyone else, Coinbase is like the largest centralized crypto exchange, at least in the US, and they're going public very, very soon. Very soon. This is really happening on the 14th of April already. They're gonna IPO straight onto Nasdaq, and it's kind of been a bumpy ride for Coinbase actually getting to IPO. They had some troubles with the SEC, and they had some troubles, with some whitewash trading allegations and that. But now they're really going to IPO very soon, and it's very hyped, very hyped. I feel like a lot of people are very excited for this IPO, and it's very exciting because for a lot of investors, this is going to be their first sort of real exposure to crypto, because a lot of people, they don't feel like safe going into cryptos, but maybe crypto stocks is sort of something that they feel safe with. So it's set to be a very big IPO, quite volatile possibly. But what are your thoughts on this, Elias?
Yeah, I think it's super exciting that an actual exchange is going onto the stock market. What I'm personally interested in is, it took a while to get the S1 registration statement and to get through that process. But what I especially like is that it's an exchange that's being listed, you have right now a lot of companies that are like investing in Bitcoin, and the retail investors, they are drawn to that. Take an example like MicroStrategy, but
Hmm.
I see that definitely Coinbase being put on the exchange is I mean, it kind of shows a larger form of acceptance towards cryptocurrencies as a legitimate platform and a legitimate industry by yeah, one of the most reputable exchanges being registered.
Right? And they're sort of this like unicorn company, right? They're straight out of Silicon Valley. They're sort of like a brand name that now people are coming to recognize, and they completely like blew people away with their first quarter profits as well, between like $730 million to $800 million. That's pretty astonishing stuff, right? That's a huge profits. And
That
but
is.
that's also where a lot of people's skepticisms come with the current evaluation of Coinbase. People think it's a bit overhyped because a lot of skeptics will say, crypto isn't a very developed market. It's still new. It's not very mature. So as the industry continues to develop, well, we might see a decrease in Coinbase's profits. But I don't know. What do you think about these thoughts from skeptics? They just hating.
Well, I get it partially because once you enter a bear market,
Hmm.
exchanges suffer from it as one of the the most. They
Right.
suffer from it the most because people aren't making trades. People are very skeptical. So yeah, definitely. Then in a bear market, I think people wouldn't per se want to invest in something like Coinbase, but I think definitely right now it'd be a hot stock. I feel like it's similar to something about it reminds me of the IPO of Facebook in like
Hmm.
I think it was 2012, right?
Yeah.
Where there was this big roadshow, there was this big thing like, oh shit, it's like a completely new platform, and no one really knows what to value it at. So I hope the IPO actually goes well, and that there's no weird obscurities that occur like
Hmm.
happened in Facebook's IPO. But I think, yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it. I personally don't trade stocks, but if I see this, I see perhaps a more well, institutionalized acceptance of crypto as well, and perhaps it's very good news for crypto investors, having this company be noted on the stock exchange.
Yeah, I think as a
Uh,
whole, it's very good for the industry, right? Like just the attention it's gonna
yeah,
get as an IPO, and it's already garnered so much attention. But I think it might drive the crypto space up. It might do, might not, but there's a big chance just purely off the attention that it's getting.
no, I agree, bro. I agree, and especially I like the point that I read that was made that well, if you invest in Coinbase, you're semi investing in Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
You're investing in the faith that is put in Bitcoin, which is speculative. So yeah, I mean, it may relate that, yeah, Coinbase is a less speculative version of Bitcoin for the retail investor who is interested in stocks.
Mhm.
That's what I would think. I think it's a safer bet, and perhaps that added liquidity for Coinbase would be very good, also for bringing stability into the market. Of course, it's a centralized exchange, and you know how I feel about centralized
Yeah,
exchanges, but uh, it's good. It's a good start, I think. And
definitely. It is what it is. And I mean, we'll definitely be talking about it on this podcast and watching it very closely. And it's happening next week. So we'll definitely be
yeah,
talking about it and how it's going and how it actually affects the space. But another
absolutely.
hot thing in the crypto space, Elias, is NFTs. You know about
NFTs.
NFTs, non fungible
Yeah.
tokens. Everyone, you've probably heard of NFTs, whether you are into crypto space or blockchain space or not. I think NFTs have just been everywhere. We all have seen probably the SNL skit
Yeah.
explaining NFTs. I mean, they did a pretty good job. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think they did a
I
pretty
think it
good
was
job.
pretty hilarious. But yeah, in terms of actually explaining NFTs, I think they did a pretty good job. And there's actually been some pretty big headlines in regards to NFTs this week. For example, like WWE are auctioning Undertaker themed NFTs ahead of WrestleMania, with the highest tier of NFTs that they're going to be selling, starting off at 10K USD, which is pretty insane.
That's insane.
That's pretty insane. Tom Brady is also going to launch his own NFT platform, so probably see some sports collectibles moving into the NFT space. Um, the overly obsessed girlfriend meme. I think her name's Liana. Yeah, she sold the meme as an NFT for 200 ETH. So I don't know what that amounts to. Do you have any idea what 200 ETH is around? So,
Last time I checked, I mean my coin gecko is in euro, so I'd
okay.
say it's like 1.7 thousand euro, 1.6 thousand euro, I think is the current rate. So multiply that by 200.
It's a lot.
That's like,
It's
yeah,
a lot. And and another headline was, Christie's huge auction house. They're known for auctioning off valuable pieces, valuable art pieces. They're auctioning off 6 CryptoPunks. And CryptoPunks is a very big NFT project in the space. I believe at the moment their price floor is around 40K, which is pretty massive. So there's a lot of money floating around NFT land, the space, and all that. So there's always this question whether these are, you know, signals that there's mass adoption on the horizon. We're at mass adoption, or are we at the top and this is like a bubble that's gonna, pop, and a lot of people are gonna lose money. What do you think, Elias?
what do I think? I think, well, personally, I don't invest in NFTs because of the fact that they're, to me, a bit too illiquid.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of, it feels to me like buying a nice painting. You might like the painting, but the next person might not, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
like you can throw it onto an exchange and someone will want to buy it.
Yep.
Um, I think though that it has a lot of potential for future adoption. So it's like saying, I feel like the question right now, is it top? Maybe. I think maybe it could get close to being at its top. There might be some sort of crash, some sort of price correction of any kind,
Mm-hmm.
and later on, whenever there's more adoption of NFTs besides, I think, the art world.
Yeah.
I feel like then that's where really the you'll get the bigger tops than what is achieved now.
Right. Yeah,
I
and NFTs at the moment, a lot of people focus on the digital art, but really there are loads of projects that are building, NFTs into video games, and there's just so many use cases for NFTs. Essentially, you can any 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 asset of value can be turned into an NFT. For example, I saw this a project by Miss Natoshi. She's making a blockchain themed kicks like shoes that are attached to these NFTs, which I think is pretty cool. Like you can buy an NFT, it's attached to a physical object, and you can, by buying that NFT, you're actually also buying this physical item. And what's also cool about that project, Blockchain Kicks, is that she's actually bought some digital land on Decentraland and is setting up a shop in
nice.
the fashion district there. So you can go in there and buy some kicks, some NFTs, and then get your kicks in real life. Like that's pretty. I think. See, there's just so much possibilities, and I think people really need to look past digital art. But with all these influencers and celebrities jumping in, it really can feel like a bubble, so to say.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I can catch that vibe. Especially what I like is what you showed me recently. It was some
Ah,
horse racing in the
some
NFT
Z
space,
run. Yeah.
right? I saw that. I figured, man, I would never watch horse races, but I would bet on this, man. There were like neon lights.
Hmm.
You could breed or something.
Yeah, it's a super cool project. Yeah, you. So for everyone who doesn't know, Zrun is like this project where you can basically own an NFT of a horse, and each horse has different properties. But then you can race your NFTs in these very graphically pleasing races, and you can actually win prize pools. And you can also do things like put your horse up in a stable for the stud service, as they call it. So other people can pay you for their horse to breed with your horse to make some nice, you know, horse race ready horses. It's just a it's
Yeah,
super cool project, I think. And there are other projects like NBA Top Shot. Like I've been able to resell some NBA Top Shot moments for some profit, and that's pretty exciting. But
true.
it is, like you said, super illiquid. Like you really have to. There's loads of projects. Some are gonna be a hit, some are gonna be a miss. But that's maybe what's good for, might be good for the NFT space. Like if they eventually shake out, the tourists to the space, and then the people who are really down with the space stay, and they're able to profit from and enjoy the space for what it is.
Yeah, definitely. And I
Mm.
think, that's the big thing that happened with Bitcoin. It's happening with NFTs, just adding scarcity to the digital world. I play Valorant, right? It's this
Mhm.
first person shooter, this tactical shooter, and you have skins, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, NFTs, they're scarce. Let's say you have a skin that's an NFT and it's unique. There's only 200 of them. People would be willing to buy them for so much more than just like the regular price, because everyone can put down $20 on a skin.
Mhm.
But if there's only 200 of them, only 200 people can put down 20
Right.
bucks
Yeah,
you know
definitely. It's just adding that element of ownership and something like the ability to do something about that ownership. I think it's it's just huge. It will be
yeah,
huge for the space. I think people underestimate that sometimes. They're like, "Oh, well, you own a JPEG." Like, it's really not owning a JPEG. It's
that's
like
true.
it's about owning an NFT, fam.
No, but definitely, exactly, and I agree with you. It's one of the few things you actually own.
Hmm.
If you compare it to, like, let's say you have a car, right? Like, let's say you have or let's say you have a mortgage. Yeah.
Hmm.
Then basically you have an IOU to a house. You don't have the house.
Right.
With an NFT, you have the NFT,
No, that
and
makes
that's straight
sense.
up it.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I've seen another example to you, like Magic the Gathering, right?
Yeah.
You have your physical cards, right? If they have value,
Mm-hmm.
you can sell it. It's like a physical thing that you own that you can sell. And but you also know Hearthstone,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, Hearthstone. It's an online trading card game, and you can have the card, but it's not like you can. It's a physical card that you can sell, or and that. But NFTs kind of at least applied to the trading card. There's a what's it called? Cards on Gods Unchained. Gods Unchained is a
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that's a NFT trading card game. So it sort of merges that ability to own cards, play the game, and but also have the ability to sell the cards. Do something
yeah,
with that ownership that you have of these cards. So I think just this element is like a huge thing in the
yeah.
space and cannot be underestimated. But let's talk about governments banning crypto and
Let's
blockchain,
talk
or
about that.
like
Yeah.
what have you been hearing about sort of this topic generally?
I mean, what I hear is whenever I look at my portfolio, I hear one thing about India, and I know it's down for the next 2 days. And well, I think it's also old news,
Hmm.
like the India ban. I think there's also some positive movement in India towards crypto, but you only hear about the ban, and you only hear about, like, ban threats happening, and usually they're corrected later, and it's in like the more Western news that only the bans get well broadcast,
Right.
and the effect that has on the market is just FUD, right?
Hmm.
Just like, let's get out right now. So that's what I think about banning crypto. I don't think it's possible, first of all.
Hmm.
But I think, maybe one of the biggest possible outcomes of owning Bitcoin would be actually using it, like a Bitcoin Cash, like a Litecoin, that you use it for transfers, that you use it to, ideally get your coffee or something.
Right.
And that's the one thing it really blocks. And as a financial technology, I think that that is something that will definitely, or potentially, if continued, halt the progression of, especially like the quick transaction type of tokens like Litecoin. I think, yeah. that those bans on the actual use of crypto, that's where the biggest issue lays. I don't think it will hurt a Bitcoin where it's like a store of value and you can kind of keep it, and no one really cares, because the moment you try to sell Bitcoin, who's gonna know? Who's gonna tell you to not do it?
Exactly.
It's decentralized.
And we were
So
talking like if you have a VPN, like you're kind of sorted. You
yeah,
know, like I mean, you were just saying, you know, you don't think that it's possible to actually ban crypto or blockchain technology or
mm,
people using these cryptos or this technology. And you know, Hester Pierce, one of the commissioners of the US SEC, actually agrees with you. She thinks it's going to be the US government would have a hard time banning Bitcoin. Actually,
yeah,
she's been dubbed the crypto mom because she's very friendly to the space. So shout outs to her. She thinks it also be quite foolish for the US to do so, and she says that you'd basically have to shut down the internet in order to block the use of Bitcoin, cryptos, and blockchain technology, which is, yeah, I mean, very telling about what people in power to actually do anything about this actually feel
yeah,
about the space. And I don't know, with a lot of institutional investors jumping in, I think it's going to be a hard sell for
yeah,
for lawmakers in the US at least to make a case for regulation.
yeah,
Well,
definitely.
obviously, like, some regulation might come in like later down the line, but it's what kind of regulation? Regulating in the way of banning, restricting people. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be possible, but we probably need some regulation in the way of taxes, how people are going to report their taxes, crypto
Mm,
taxes. I mean, there are lots of services that help with that now, but in terms of the I feel like policymakers catching up to
yeah.
understanding this technology and how this is going to work, in terms of our day-to-day lives and our interactions with the state, probably have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, I think so too. I was thinking about this as well.
Hmm.
I bought VeChain a long time ago, and I thought, the my bank only knows about the original amount that I bought it for, and if you compare that to now, that's a big difference, But
Hmm.
like in the back of my mind, that sound clip, like how would they know? Keeps playing,
Exactly.
and yeah, man, to get that through, and also to get things like exit schemes for me are a big issue, especially when you really like a project, when
Hmm.
it's like a low cap project and you're trying to get into it, you're trying to read up on it. You think, yeah, let me put my money in it, and it's just an exit scheme,
Right.
and you get duped.
You just gotta be careful. People, be careful out there, for real.
Exactly.
Make sure you do your research on these projects and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you don't want to get burnt, but there is that risk with crypto at the moment and blockchain that these projects might what's the word, rug
Yeah.
pull. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Pull the rug from underneath you, and you might lose a lot of money, like, potentially. So it's really important that you do your research, and why it's really necessary for lawmakers to get on board and put in regulation to actually protect consumers. And I think that's key, as opposed to them trying to restrict consumers.
Definitely. That's also why the SEC was started,
Hmm.
to make sure that these securities are actually solid.
Right.
I mean, they don't always do their job, but like, it's what it was made for,
Yeah, you can hope. You can hope.
You can hope. So perhaps, a bit more consumer safety
Mhm.
would be nice, I think, in the crypto field, especially if you're trying to invest in a token and you don't just want to lose all your fiat.
No, definitely. And the head commissioner of the SEC is said to be very crypto friendly. So this sort of hurt. So what I think about, I mean, I think what's going on in India, like, is a lack of understanding about how this technology actually works and how actually will be implemented and actually could, you know, how it functions within a society and as such.
Mm,
So it's sort of that thing, like, you want to ban what you don't know, or you're scared of what you don't know thing. So, like, if it's pretty promising if you have for example, the head commissioner of the SEC, quite bullish on crypto, and is quite positive on the space, like, that sort of gives the whole space, like, some positivity
Yeah.
to look to in the way of regulation.
No, definitely, definitely. Luckily, it's this one. Like the past chair of the SEC was not very pro crypto, and luckily we have this change right now.
Yeah,
So
especially when we're in the throes of a bull run like this,
yeah,
like it's hype. Everyone's hyped. Consumers are hyped, retail investors are hyped. The institutions are hyped, and now the regulators are hyped. So it's all positive for crypto, and I feel like we're super bullish on the space. Hope everyone else
exactly.
is super bullish on the space. I mean, well, that was like this week in crypto. I think that was sort
Yeah.
of the main um, headlines for us. We'll keep watching the space to see what's happening. And Elias, do you have any last thoughts, things you want to share with the listeners?
Do I have any last thoughts? No. Follow us on Twitter. Check out our feeds, and yeah, we'll see you next week on Block Explorer.
Yep.